waiting for us?
Come up in a second.
Oh, okay, okay. Hello, again, my name is Robert Elder. Oh, man. And this is Steve James, our guest for the evening. Again, I will start out with the most simple question. So, the name of this film series and of the book you helped me with is The Film That Changed My Life. And you saw this in film school. So, how did this film change your life?
It's great to see so many people out to see a film that's 30, 40, almost 40 years old.
It's 36.
36. Getting close to 40. Well, I saw it, yeah, I went to school down at Southern, and at that point where I went there, I was interested in film and took some film courses, and I actually saw the film was shown at the Student Center. You know, they brought it there. So it wasn't in a class that I saw it, although we certainly talked about Barbara Koppel's work. And, you know, I think that you know, I had done I didn't remember this when you and I talked for the book, but I had done when I first got to Carbondale, I got interested in an old coal mining strike that was, the account of which was in a book called Bloody Williamson. And it was about a coal strike in the 20s in Harlan, Illinois, down in southern Illinois. And, you know, it was a vicious, terrible battle. 20 people were killed in the course of it. And I had gone to the radio station at Southern and done with a guy there in the radio television department. We went out and did a piece about that where we interviewed a lot of a lot of family members from that time whose fathers and you know, had participated in it or been lost in it. So I was really kind of interested in that whole issue just based on that. But then when I saw this film, first of all, I just realized, you know, what a powerful telling of a similar kind of story, a more contemporary story that Barbara had done with this. Now I can call her Barbara, I actually know her, but back then it was, you know, Barbara Koppel. But, you know, what was amazing is that she was a very young filmmaker who went, you know, from New York, who went to Kentucky, to a place very different from where she was from, and, you know, and just sort of embedded herself, if you will, in that community, in that region during the course of this whole thing. So I was just really struck by the powerful access that she got to the lives of these folks, and the telling of this, you know, very tense and complicated story. You know, this is not a simple, you know, strike and resolution of a strike. It's more complicated than that.
I'm just going to re-ask my question because if I remember right, you were on your way to becoming a feature filmmaker. Your eye was not necessarily on documentaries, and this changed your path a little bit. Can you tell us why?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was on my way to becoming a feature filmmaker. I was more of an aspiring feature filmmaker, because I think, you know, I'm of an age when most people who went to study film in school wanted to make movies. You know, most people at that time didn't come to film and think, oh, I'd like to make documentaries. They may end up making documentaries or enjoy documentaries, but it wasn't considered kind of, believe it or not, kind of a career aspiration. And I had fallen in love with movies, capital M movies. So I think, you know, one of the things that was just really powerful about this film and some others I saw at the time was just, you know, it's a great story and it's very vivid and you're there. You're right there in the middle of it as it's unfolding. And there was something quite powerful about that, and given I had come to film out of radio journalism. I was, you know, my interest was, I thought, you know, at one time I might, you know, work for NPR or something, that would be a career path for me. But when I kind of fell for film, I think documentary and a film like this sort of brought together those two interests, that love of movies and that journalistic bent that I had. And but it was the storytelling, I think, that was the most affecting about it.
We talked about this in the book, and it's sort of a cliffhanger in our interview, and that is now that you know Barbara Koppel and you can call her Barbara, did you let her know that she sort of derailed your life or derailed your path?
Well, I wouldn't say derailed. I don't,
No, no, and
I don't regret the path I've been on, but no, she certainly knows how impactful her work was on me. She certainly knows that this film was a really important film to me. And she's made, you know, I would count, I mean, she's made many good films. I would count 2 other films as being really phenomenal films. Of course, American Dream, which is about the Hormel strike. That was her film after this. And that's a film where she really managed to get on both sides of both, you know, the scabs and the striking miners, and showed the sort of complexity of what it's like to be in both those shoes. And then she made this terrific film that's really underappreciated about Mike Tyson called Fallen Champ, The Rise and Fall of Mike Tyson, which if you ever get a chance to see, I highly recommend. It's not a verite film like this film, an American movie, but it is a, you know, powerful film nonetheless. So yeah, I've been able to, you know, the thing about Barbara is that you sort of get a sense of it too here in the movie. You hear her asking questions. I love that little scene where she's talking to the big strikebreaker guy that carries the gun. And, you know, when she first encounters him in the truck, and he says, you know, who are you? Where's your, you know, let me see that press pass. And she's like, she just bypasses all of that and starts asking him about what he thinks of everything. And you can see that she's charming the guy, you know. I mean, she's really charming him, and they leave on a, you know, on a laugh. You know, well, I forgot my ID. Well, I guess I forgot mine too. And then you see as the film progresses that she was able to get access to that guy. She was able to film with impunity, you know, what he was up to, which was pretty phenomenal given just how tense that whole situation was. And she was clearly spending the great majority of her time, you know, with the striking miners. So she has this, Barbara has this incredible ability to kind of get you to do anything, you know, and I've seen that. I think it's one of the things that makes her a very gifted documentary filmmaker. And she's been enormously generous to me over the years in terms of giving me notes on, you know, some of the films I've done, and being very generous with, you know.
And what did she tell you about basically being a character in your own documentary? You've done that in Stevie,
right.
And you shot The Interrupters, right?
Right.
Mostly. So, you know, she got knocked down. There's a point where they, you know, they come after her as the filmmaker. So, what have your conversations about that been?
Well, you know, we haven't really talked about that. I mean, she saw a cut of Stevie, this film I did about a kid that I was once a big brother to, and I ended up being in it, as you said. She saw a cut of that film at one stage and spent several hours, literally several hours, giving me thoughts and notes about it, which was just, you know, it made it a better film, and was very generous of her to do. We didn't talk about that part. I mean, she's a fearless person. I mean, that's just who she is. She's the same today, you know, and it is amazing, as I said earlier. Here's this, she was, you know, probably, I don't know how old she was when she made this. Was she?
Early 20s.
Yeah, early 20s. You know, just kind of takes a certain kind of, you know, balls to go from where she's from into that world at that moment, and just spend that kind of time there and not flinch.
I also wanted to add, for those of you who haven't seen it, Shut Up and Sing is also one of hers. It's about the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
And I care nothing about the Dixie Chicks. It's an amazing film. So check that out as well.
Yeah, she's made lots of great films.